The Habs have a massive, massive problem they still need to fix, and that is the power play. We'll be talking about the huge shortcomings in this preseason game versus the Leafs, plus some really surprising games from David Reinbacher and Cayden Guhle, as that pairing looks to be the Habs pairing of the future, plus some not so good news for some Habs forwards and defensemen looking to make the team out of camp. So you'll want to stick around for all that on this edition of Habs Digest. Let's dive in and look, we're going to start with Slafkovsky. And we're going to start with some of the guys that were maybe a little more disappointing. And I don't want to come in here and harp on Slafkovsky, because if you watch the channel, you know that we love to praise Slafkovsky. He's still very young. Let me preface this whole segment by saying he's still very young. He has a ton that he can still learn, and he's improving every single day. However, this was definitely not one of his best performances, right? In a game where Montreal was icing maybe their best lineup of the preseason, Caufield, Suzuki, Newhook, we'll get into that line a bit later. Harvey Pinard, Dach, and Slafkovsky getting run back because that line was played a bit earlier in the preseason. Heineman, Kidney, Anderson, Pezzetta, Maya, Farrell, with Norlinder, Barron, Guhle, Reinbacher, Trudeau, Kovacevic, with Monty playing the first two periods, Jakub Dobeš in the third period, not letting in a goal, I believe. But yeah, I mean, a lot of eyes were on Slafkovsky. I know when I was watching the game, I was like, hey, I got to keep my eyes on him, and he had a decent game. I'm not going to say he had a bad game. However, there are some shortcomings for sure that we're going to want to keep an eye on, right? Playing on this line with Dach and Harvey Pinard is definitely giving him some opportunities. However, sometimes he still feels a little easy to get knocked off the puck, and there was a couple of situations where the puck was going into the corner. Slav, with his massive body, is ready to go into the corner, and he doesn't really lay a hit. He just kind of pokes at it and stays away. He made a couple of blind passes, right? Still thinks he's improving on, and again, his head is up way more than last year. His speed and his stamina compared to last year still seem like much better. However, there's still some times where I just feel like he needs some more experience. But that's the awesome thing with Slafkovsky. He is so young, and he already has so much NHL and NHL preseason experience. This stuff will come to him eventually. Not going to harp on that for too long, but definitely something I noticed. He didn't stand out nearly as much as he did last game, even though he did have a nice breakaway with a great save from Martin Jones that really should have been a goal, and another nice chance here and there. So other than Slav, though, there was a player that I wanted to talk about that really left, I don't want to say a sour taste in my mouth, but he really got outshined by his other defenseman, and that's Justin Barron. Boy, I gotta say, watching this game and watching William Trudeau versus Justin Barron was like night and day, and I know Barron's right side and Trudeau, well, yeah, Trudeau's more of a left side guy, but at the same time, man, Barron just looked like he wasn't really that level of veteran out there. I mean, I don't want to say he's a veteran because he's still quite young. However, he's had a lot more NHL experience than a lot of these other guys who he's playing defense with. He made a couple of questionable zone exits, a bunch of questionable passes, really wasn't looking for his offense, which is kind of his bread and butter for this team, right? Justin Barron kind of projected, at least for us here, and I'm sure a lot of you guys, to be kind of an offensive style defenseman, but he wasn't really showing those flashes that we were hoping for. And I'm just going to flash up the box score here really quick. And yeah, like you can see against this Leafs team, like just look at who they were playing, right? Matty Nyes, Nick Robertson were the highlights of this team, Nick Abruzzese. But other than that, I mean, Morgan Riley, of course, on defense, but they were not playing any of their stars. Not at all. And I mean, as you can see there, Justin Barron and net zero with a 2-minute interference penalty in the game. It was a bit of a weak interference call, but it was interference. So looking at that Leafs roster, you think these Habs players really need to stand out, right? This is their chance to go against a weaker Leafs team. Of course, these guys are going to be trying extremely hard to make the roster for sure. However, you really got to capitalize when you get those chances. And the 3-1 loss from Montreal to the Toronto Maple Leafs, just not going to cut it. And especially if you're someone like Justin Barron, this is the kind of game that you really need to show out in. Same thing with Juraj Slafkovsky. You're facing a weaker Leafs team. You want to make an impact, and it didn't quite happen. I want to say the same was kind of true for Nick Suzuki. He had a couple of turnovers in the power play. We're kind of getting to the power play later. But again, the veterans never try as hard as the young guys because they have a lot less to lose, right? Like the veterans can just go, oh, if I make a mistake, whatever, I'm still going to be on the first line opening night. But yeah, I wanted to highlight Justin Barron and Juraj Slafkovsky, and Sam Montembeault was fine. Let in a very weak goal early. That's kind of been a trend with him and Habs goalies in general for the last year or two, letting in a weak goal early in the game with a wraparound from Matty Nyes. But all in all, I don't want to say there's too many negative performances from the Habs because I thought everyone played pretty well. The result just didn't go their way. But let's dive into the positives, the guys who I was like, wow, these guys stood out. And the first one immediately was Newhook, and I thought he fit seamlessly in with this top line. There were so many chances for Alex Newhook. He should have had about 2 goals this game. He had a post later in the game. I think that was in the third, but I think in the first period. Caufield does a nice entry to Suzuki. Suzuki goes behind the net with his back to the net, so he's basically facing the edge of the rink. and he just fires a blind backhand pass right in front of the net to a streaking Newhook without even looking. It was insane. Newhook chops the puck up to himself, dangles to the backhand, and he was unfortunately robbed by Martin Jones with an insane save, but that should have been a Newhook goal. He fit so well with them. He was forcing turnovers. His speed was creating so much offense, and honestly, he was a natural fit on that first line. Now, I know Newhook has been experimented with at center for a lot of this preseason. However, this was maybe the most chemistry we've seen anyone have with Suzuki and Caufield other than Kirby Dach, and Kirby there, of course, busy centering his own line tonight alongside Harvey Pinard and Slafkovsky. So Alex Newhook with Nick Suzuki and Cole Caufield could be a very real line heading into this season, and I'm really excited that they tried it because it fit really well. The pace is insane, and yeah, I want to see a bit more of it. And I wanted to dive into the defense as well. Something that was just, look, okay, actually, we'll start with Cayden Guhle, because Cayden Guhle is always very interesting to talk about, and he just looked steady as anything tonight. He looked like maybe the most veteran player on the ice, and that's saying something for how young he is. For both teams, right, forwards, defensemen, doesn't matter. He looked like maybe the most mature player on the ice, hardly made any mistakes, so solid, had a short-handed goal off an offensive zone face-off win. Nice little snipe. Again, check out the short I posted of that goal. Really, really nice. I might link it up here, maybe up there. I'm not sure if I can do that. I think I can, and if I can, click that link. Go watch Cayden Goule's nice snipe if you missed it. But yeah, like, man, he was so good tonight. I mean, every single moment I was like, wow, I really have a lot of faith in this guy. But it wasn't just him. It was also his defensive partner, David Reinbacher. And David Reinbacher, again, he's 18 years old, but he doesn't play like he's 18 years old. David Reinbacher, other than Cayden Goule, I had the most faith when the puck was on his stick. He doesn't panic. He never makes the wrong decision, it feels like. And he's always generating some kind of offense, and boy, can he skate. Like, he is just all over the ice at once. Great offense, great defense. He is pretty much perfect, really. And again, I think if you put him on the Habs roster for opening night, he would fit and he would look like a very solid player at the age of 18. And how many guys in the league can you say that about, right? Like, he's just adjusting to this North American ice like it's absolutely nothing, like it's no problem for him. His decision making is elite. His ability to get back on defense and make the right defensive plays is incredible. This guy looks to be, at 18 years old, would probably already eat 15 to 20 minutes a night in the NHL. Can you imagine what he's going to be like when he's 23 with 5 more years of development? I mean, he's shown nothing but good things for this Montreal team, and I just needed to focus on him in this video. But let's dive into the crux of this video, what a lot of you guys probably care about, and that is the power play. And look, we all know it's an issue. I mean, we're no stranger to the Habs' lack of power play, and there was a lot of excuses last year. There were so many injuries, such a rotating power play core. But now it's preseason, right? It's preseason. You have a lot of your top power play guys. You have Dach. You have Suzuki. You have Harvey Pinard, who played a lot of power play time last year and played it in this game in the preseason. You have Cole Caufield, one of the best goal scorers in the NHL. And you're playing a Leafs team that doesn't have like any of their best players minus Morgan Rielly. And they're playing Martin Jones in net, who they're probably going to have to waive before the season starts. And they let Martin Jones make 34 saves on 35 shots, and the Habs just could not get anything going on the power play. And look, it's a huge problem. And look, I don't mean to overreact, but I don't even think it's an overreaction at this point, right? The Habs have had this problem for a while. Alex Burrows and Marty St. Louis are running this power play, and mostly it's been Alex Burrows, baby. We all kind of know this, right? And I mean, I don't want to be negative towards coaches. I want to say, oh, Alex Burrows is the absolute worst ever. But, like, something needs to change at this point, man. The same thing. You see Nick Suzuki skate behind the net. Oh, he comes up there's a turnover. Okay, the Habs let up a shorthanded goal and a goal right after a power play in this game. Like, when Nick Robertson streaked out of the box, I think it was Nora Linder just didn't hustle to get back. It was just poor. Like, it felt like the Habs struggled way more to do anything on the power play than they did 5-on-5. And does that sound familiar? Well, if you followed the channel or if you followed the Habs last year, you'll know that was a common theme. The Habs looked quite good 5-on-5. Again, 35 shots against this Leafs team. They outshot them badly in this game, right? The Habs were all over the ice, especially 5-on-5, but it felt like on the power play, nothing was doing. All the good chances happened 5-on-5. Were there a couple of decent chances on the power play? Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say there weren't, but at the same time, like, when you have Caufield and you have Suzuki, you have Dach, you have Guhle, you have even Reinbacher, for goodness sake. Like, these guys need to put the puck in the net on the power play against this kind of Leafs team. And if you're playing against a bunch of AHLers and OHLers, and you still can't get anything going on the power play, and this team is just shutting you down like it's nothing, something needs to give. And I think that's a serious issue for the Habs, and I understand it's another developmental year. After watching this game tonight, I think we might be in for a rough year. Again, that to be fair is a bit of an overreaction to one preseason game, because the Habs have looked good in some, but at the same time, like, there's still a lot of growing pains, right? There's going to be a lot of growing pains. It's going to be a fun team to watch, even if they don't win a ton of games. But the power play is something that we definitely want to have figured out before these guys start turning that corner. And they won't be able to turn that corner without a decent power play. So I don't know if it's the structure. I don't coach hockey. I don't know. I'm not here offering a solution. So you can just take this as me ranting for nothing. Because realistically, do I have anything of value that I can say, hey, you should do this? No, I don't. And so realistically, should you listen to me? No, probably not. But if you're still here at this point in the video, hey, props to you. But this Habs power play something needs to be done. I don't know what it is. The other people need to shoot other than Caufield, it feels like sometimes. I know Suzuki sometimes shoots, but like it seems like everything's designed around Cole, as it should be, but it feels like sometimes better shots are given up instead of just by trying to force the puck to Cole Caufield. Anyway, I'm not going to rant about this for too long. However, it's a big problem that Montreal faced tonight. It's a big problem they faced last season. And let me know if this is a worry for you guys as well, because I want to hear from you. Yeah, let me know what your opinions were on this game. Let me know what your opinions are on the Habs power play. Is this something that they need to fix this season, or is there still time? I know this is Alex Burrows' last year on his contract, so maybe there are changes coming, but hey, all we can do is wait and see. That'll do it for this edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 8,000 subs, and we really appreciate your support. I've been Josh Gosse. I'll catch you in the next one.